Welcome back to Let's Write a Song. I'm your host, Andy Cole, coming to you from Treaty 1 territory, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. This is a show about creativity, because no matter who the guest is, at the end of it, we have created something together. We wrote a song, and creativity can take many forms. That's why I wanted, non-songwriters to also be guests on this show. I mean, I haven't always done just music myself. I used to write quite a lot. I also used to do comedy. I was more into sketch than stand-up. Stand-up is scary. Sketch, at least you got other people around you. I had a troupe when I lived in Toronto. We toured a bit. We were in the LA Sketch Festival in Hollywood years back. That was really cool. I think we were pretty good. But there came a time for me that I needed to get out because comedy is hard. Maybe the hardest. For many people, it can come from a dark place. The comedy itself might not seem dark on the surface, but things that are universal and funny, things like insecurity, embarrassment, vulnerability, you have to be able to recognize those things in yourself to pull the humor out. And most people don't want to think about those things because it doesn't seem funny when you consider what your failings might be, what makes you uncomfortable about yourself. But then someone who seems confident is up there on a stage or on TV in front of a whole bunch of people. And they talk about those things and they're able to make them palatable and understandable. Those kind of formless, uncomfortable emotions, they have a shape now. Someone turned it into a joke, and you can laugh at it. And then it doesn't seem like maybe as dark a place. However, if you're the person mining those subjects for the humor, you're very much in touch with that darkness. And you might not even find those things actually funny. Sometimes it's only funny because you are talking about them, that you're bringing them to light. You're just admitting to that darkness. Sometimes bringing it up is just the joke itself. So those things about you are still there, and now you know about them. You know about those insecurities and those failings. You spent time with them. They're part of you, and no one is making you laugh about it. Comedy's hard. Maybe the hardest. Our guest this week is a comedian. Tim Gray, a very funny sketch and stand-up performer. He's in the sketch group Honks. He used to be on the a weekly live show here in Winnipeg that is gone away now, but it was called The Week Thus Far. It's like a live sort of news desk with sketches and stuff. I was happy to have a comedian on this season. Tim might have actually been the first person I asked to do the show when the idea came to me. I found like an old list recently of all the guests I wanted, and Tim's name was the first one. I think it was just I was writing them down as they came to me. So we sat down and talked about the social politics of comedy today. Something I wanted to talk about, and Tim has a very good perspective on it because he was the target of a whole lot of weird anger for simply instituting a non-harassment policy in the venue that he books. And we talked about a bunch of other much less dark stuff too. We have a good time. Here's this week's guest, Tim Gray. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. You did a charity fundraiser. Was that last night or 2 nights ago?
Yeah, that was Saturday night, so that would have been 2 nights ago. We did a charity fundraiser for the North End Women's Resource Center.
Yeah.
Raised about 300 bones for them.
Great.
Yeah. Good lineup, good audience, you know. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah. Was that at Wee Johnny's? I didn't
I didn't
even see that post till today that had happened.
Oh, really?
So
yeah.
Serves me right for going on Facebook once a week. I go on once a week to post my stuff, basically. And I was like, I got to get on here more. I miss everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you book are you the sole comedy booker at Wee Johnny's there?
Yeah, I am. I book all the entertainment at Wee Johnny's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So even the music, when music happens?
we don't really do music because it's not a great setup for bands in the past. That has been the experience.
Shows there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those pillar in the middle of the room places.
Pillar in the middle of the room, small like echoey chamber that leads into another echoey chamber.
Yeah.
And the mandate has just been to try to fill it with comedy and see how far we can push it. Like when we first started, when I first started producing shows at that venue, it was like 2014, I think.
Yeah.
And I was doing like a once a month Sunday show, and it was like kind of a themed, half booked, half drop in and go up if you'd like to try it, or if you just want some practice.
Yeah.
And then we did that for about a year of just the Sunday shows. And then it was my birthday was landing on a Friday, and I was like, do you guys have anything going on Fridays here? And they were like, not really, or it's like once in a while, nothing consistent. So I did a birthday comedy show, and we packed the place out, and it was a ton of fun. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. So comedy can work on a Friday.
Yeah.
Let's try that monthly. And then it grew to like a weekly Friday night show. And then we added Saturdays, added Wednesdays, added Thursdays. And now we're like trivia on Tuesday nights, which is, it's trivia, but it's also like funny and fun. Yeah. And then Wednesdays, the open mic comedy. Thursday, we try to plug in improv comedy.
Nice.
Fridays, usually stand up, and Saturdays, like sketch or stand up or some blend of the two. Yeah.
It's great that you've really turned it into like, there wasn't a venue like that in the city really. And there's a couple of comedy clubs.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a venue like, kind of what it reminds me of is in Toronto, like Comedy Bar.
Exactly.
Which is, I mean, in the name is explicit about what's going on there.
Yeah.
But it's like, that it's a place where you can go there any night of the week and it's going to be comedy.
Yeah.
There's a variety of stuff that goes on. And then,
it's really fun and exciting when we have like a kind of a quote unquote oversold show. And we're the formula that we have with just showcasing locals and like locals putting on their own shows and putting their own mark on it. It's been really successful.
It's nice too that there's a venue. Like venues can be so difficult to deal with, especially when a place like that's not set up specifically to be a venue.
Right.
Like it's a pub feeling, and then there just happens to be a corner, basically.
Yeah.
But that when they're not only like easy to work with, but they're willing to try stuff, right? Like they're willing to do that first Friday, and that worked. And it's like, well, then maybe if comedy is something that can bring a crowd in.
Yeah.
And keep bringing people back to it.
Yeah.
It's nice when a venue sort of sees the value in accommodating performers a little bit.
Yeah. We are extremely lucky.
Yeah.
And I try to tell like the sort of up and coming locals who maybe don't have a lot of experience dealing with venues and dealing with like how much of a nightmare that can truly be, because we are in a beautiful spot right now where like the payout for the performers, it's kind of based on a scale for food and liquor sales. Okay. So like it's in our best interest to have the business do well for food and liquor sales because that increases the payout that we get at the end of the night as a producer. But yeah, like, at any minute, the owner could be like, you know what? We're going to try a paint night. And you're fired.
Yeah, we got a bachelorette party coming in, and that seemed to work out pretty well. So we're going to go for that crowd now. Yeah. All I've had, I mean,
they're going to replace you with a pool table.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what?
Like that's all happened.
That's got to be rough. Then you go there next time and the pool table's doing great.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all the people there playing pool. Look at all those loonies on there. I've had to deal with, I mean, I haven't done as much booking lately as I have in the past, but like for music is a really tough sell as well. Yeah. Because it's like, I feel like comedy in a place almost you can, if you want to be at the back and not feel like you're there if you just want to be in the place. Right. It's a little easier to sort of tune it out, I think, because you're having conversation with someone.
For music or for comedy?
For comedy, I find it's a little easier.
Whereas to tune out.
Music is just you can't get away from it, right? So yeah, I find
that's funny because I look at it from the comedian's perspective as I would think it would be the other way around because like with music, like that's what comedians always say when we're always envious of musicians, right?
Music's way easier. Like having done both, music is as a performer way easier to do.
Yeah, because you could just like you don't rely on the, hey, have you guys ever heard of this? Are you familiar with this topic I want to tell some jokes about?
Oh yeah, and also like I was more into sketch than stand up, but I'd done both. But like the tough thing about either like any kind of performing comedy is like you kind of are building what you're doing as like there's a laugh point and then that'll carry till the next thing and people will follow you through the setup to the next thing. Music is just like you start, you're done, they clap, repeat.
Right.
And so like there was a time where I was doing both.
There's no like back and forth contract. Well, there is, but
no, unless you're one of those performers who's like, I need help with this song. I need you guys to sing along in the middle, and I don't do that. I never do that because it's like I've been there where it's like, don't give people an opportunity to not help you get your momentum. Because usually I find it fails.
They're not going to be there for you.
No, they're not. And like I'll say, like as an audience member, I'm barely ever am I along with you when unless it's like a friend's thing and I'm nervous for them, then I'll help. But I've never been, and I can't recall a time when I've been exuberant to the point where I'm like, I'm in. Okay, what are we doing? Are we claps? Are we doing whoas?
Tell me what you need.
Yeah. Whereas comedy is like, again, you're depending on those laughs to keep carrying it.
Yeah. You're depending on them paying attention at least long enough to get the punchline.
I want to talk at the comedy night or the comedy nights at Wee Johnny's. I remember early on, something came out about kind of like the ground rules you set up. Oh yeah. About abusive it was language and
it was a pretty straightforward like harassment policy.
That's it. Yeah.
Like pretty much just like every other bar, restaurant, place of business has. Mm-hmm. We put a little sign up that said, welcome to thank you for coming to Wee Johnny's. We hope that you enjoy the show and that thank you for helping contribute towards the local comedy scene. We want everyone to be the best, so we don't tolerate sexism, transphobia, ableism, ageism, racism, homophobia. It just kind of like listed a bunch of things. It was kind of inspired by, I don't know, I saw some like coffee shop put out like a cool sign that used different font and different color. I was like, that looks cool and I like the message.
Yeah.
So we kind of like used that as our inspiration, and I worked with some local comedians to help me sort of figure out the wording. Mm-hmm. Worked with a local comedian who does graphic design to put it together, and it it looked nice, and we put it up on the wall. I mean, it's just saying like, don't be a jerk, right? Like, don't be a bad person, and that goes for the audience and that goes for the performers. Like, we just don't want anyone to be a shitty person.
Yeah, it's kind of tough you have to try to be shitty in that way.
Yeah, like, totally.
It's tough to slip up.
It's easier to be a good person.
Yeah, way easier.
Way easier, yeah. Substantially easier.
Yeah, so what do you make then of like this thing that it seems like it happens every 3.5 to 4 weeks where something will come out about comedy and like people are too sensitive and I'm not, like there's almost like these guys that are making a career of saying things, of being like, I'm not allowed to say this. Yeah. Watch my new Netflix special, which is an hour long about me not being allowed to say this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think these people are being genuine, or do you think they just found an angle?
I think they 100% found an angle. I mean, that's probably what got them famous in the first place, is they said stuff that was challenging to the status quo or whatnot, and now they see the status quo as like, oh, people are too PC or people are too sensitive or whatever, so I'm just gonna like lean into that and cause some controversy because I know it's gonna like appeal to my fan base, who there's this huge population of people who think comedy is going up on stage and telling the world how it is. But like at the end of the day, comedy is about getting laughs. So so it just feeds into that, and it's huge and it's growing. Like all these people, I got into like Instagram argument recently with somebody I went to school with, and it's like we had a decent relationship. I don't see eye to eye with all the things that this person does. They don't see eye to eye with all the things that I do. But then they posted some Dave Chappelle clip, and they're like, this is what comedy is. It's sad that this is why I don't go see comedy in Winnipeg, because I heard they have lists of things people can't say. Like that's what I hear all the time. People from like Thunder Bay, people from all over, they're like, oh, Winnipeg has a list of things you can't say. It's like, fuck off, man. Like, first of all, you did no research onto that. You heard one thing that you heard from somebody else that heard from somebody else and decided that's just how it is. And then, it's not a list of things you can't say. It's just like, it's a list of, the types of behavior we don't want to tolerate.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about any of that stuff, well, okay, but you better be funny. Like, you better have a good point of view on it, and it makes the audience laugh. Yeah. If you're just talking about it and you're not getting laughs, and what your intent is from a place of anger or a place of, like, even if it's just a place of ignorance, then, fuck off.
Yeah. You can, like, there are, it's really tough needle to thread, but there are ways I think you can take people down uncomfortable paths. And
absolutely,
and broach those topics. Absolutely. It's not like this is off limits. It's just like you said, like you have to have a point at the end of it. Yeah, and your point can't be I'm not allowed to say this because on top of being lazy, like it's not a joke that you're not allowed to say something.
Like if you're just saying it to say it, then go to a spoken word show. Yeah, if you're at a comedy show and you're talking about something, well, you better have a fucking joke. Like you better have a punchline. And otherwise, why are you wasting our time?
And it feels like too a big complaint a lot of them have, like a lot of the bigger comedians when they complain about like college campuses.
Yeah.
Oh, kids are so sensitive, and it's like, well, you're the one going there. That's where you want to do a show. Yeah. Like if they don't find what you're doing funny, if people get up and walk out, like that's the audience you tried to get, and they're not into it. Yeah. You can't complain till people like, what do they think is good? That's why I guess, I agree with you that like it's pretty disingenuous and it's just an angle, because if they cared, they would change what they were doing. Yeah. And they would, like, if they cared about appealing to an audience, because do they honestly think there's going to be this point where like everybody goes, yeah, you know what? I was being too sensitive. I'm going to sit back down. I'm going to listen to you punching down at people. Right. And I'm going to laugh because, you're right. It was funny. Yeah. We were all just playing.
Yeah.
It infuriates me sometimes when I hear those complaints. Yeah. And similarly when, like, again, another reason I just loathe going on Facebook a lot of the time. Yeah. When you see people posting things that are sort of this fake outrage. Yeah. About, like, there was one about a rainbow poppy this week, and it turned out to be a totally fake story. Yeah. I got into an argument with someone I used to work with in radio who he has like a podcast or something, and he put up a thing, it was like a year or so ago, about like what's next. They're going to take Santa out of the mall at Christmas. Right. And I was like, that's like, no one's talking about it. He posted a thing where it's like, I don't know if it was about the Starbucks cups or something dumb. Yeah. And going like, next they're going to take Santa out of the malls. Yeah. I'm like, you're insane if you think they're going to take, like, Santa gets people to spend tons of money at a mall. Yeah. Like, they'll only take Santa out when he's unprofitable. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Santa's fine. And I'm like, also, you're getting mad. And then the people in his comments were getting mad all about this thing that's not happening. Yeah. They're like, next it's going to happen. And it's like, and then they complain about outrage culture. Right. And it's like, you had to make something up to get mad about. People like, this is like, don't be abusive to people. Don't harass people. Like, ooh, outrage. Yeah. And I had a guy, because of that list, I had a guy call me Joseph Stalin. He said that me... Stalin, though? Yeah. Like, famous ally. He really was.
Yeah, he said, like, me censoring free speech is like Joseph Stalin. And he's like, I had grandparents that went through the Holocaust. Yeah. And I'm like, all this shit is way off base. First of all, this guy doesn't even live in Winnipeg. Right. I had floods of messages. Like, I was absolutely fucking flooded, overwhelmed to the craziest extent of all these fucking idiots coming out of nowhere and telling me how I should run my business and saying, oh, your doors are going to be closed in a week. You're going to be, no way you're going to, I'm not coming to your venue. Well, good. Like, good. It sounds like
please don't. You'd have a bad time.
Yeah. And also, like, we're full every week. Like, we've been full. We've like 3 years now of packing out this for local comedy, and even this big scary list that's going to lead to Santa being taken out of the mall has not stopped that or slowed that down. If anything, it's helped its grow. Like, there's some other comedy club that just started in Winnipeg, and they put like they make the person go up on stage and say, "We don't censor our comedians here," as like kind of a direct, a really cool thing to say.
Yeah.
And you know how well that's working out for them. They started Tuesday to Saturday shows. They're now doing Friday, Saturday shows. I had a friend go or was like headlining, and 3 out of the 4 shows for that weekend were canceled because nobody showed up.
Really?
Yeah, because like you're not gonna get business like that.
That's not it's like that's not an angle.
No,
even. Like, oh,
your angle is attacking another business. Like,
yeah, and like it's not. People aren't. Like, I don't know anyone who goes to a comedy club and like, I want to hear some offensive material.
Yeah.
Like
there are people.
But I mean, are those people like, I feel like the people like, oh, I'm not coming to your comedy shows. Like, you probably don't go to any then, because like, how many comedy shows do you go to anywhere where it's just a cavalcade of abusive material? It's not, it's rare. And more when you're exposed to it at a show, it feels weird because everyone else is just being funny and someone has to get offensive about things.
Yeah. And again, go to a spoken word show.
Yeah.
Like, start your own spoken word thing if that's all your point is. You want to, or get into politics.
Yeah.
Like, get out of comedy though.
Start a podcast.
Start a podcast.
Be a Facebook crank. That works for some people.
Yeah. Well, we're all horrible people just trying to figure it out, right?
Oh, yeah. Horrible. Just the worst. Everybody's the worst. And I had a question, too, because you were in Toronto, I think last month you went?
Yeah, we were in... Yeah. What do we... October. Yeah.
Yeah, sometime in October you went
14th.
in there, and it was your sketch troupe, right? Hunks?
Yeah. Hunks had a show at Comedy Bar there.
I love that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having done... I did... When I was doing sketch, we did a few shows in other cities, and I always found it interesting. I always felt like crowds were different city to city.
Yeah.
What kind of jokes people get. Did you notice a big difference between like what works for an audience here in Winnipeg and what works for an audience in Toronto?
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I think maybe because we're sort of... At this point, we've done a fair amount of traveling and a fair amount of like festivals and shows in other cities, that maybe we're changing our writing style to be more appealing on a more general level. Okay, I think that we've definitely learned that. Like we started, Hunks is the sketch group, and we started in 2014. We started meeting, and 2015 we started doing shows, and then our first year we did like 6 shows at the Park Theater here in Winnipeg. And we did like a new 45 minutes for each show. And then in the following year, we went out to Vancouver in the January, and we did this festival, and like it just couldn't have gone better. Like everything was just the festival did really well, filling the theater, and the group before us that was really good. And then we came out and we just had all the energy in the world, and we were like so excited to be performing in a different city, and it just went so great. And then after that, based on that performance, we got asked to do another festival in another city, and that's kind of where we really learned, like, oh shoot, we need to adapt, or like some of these sketches, like things aren't hitting because they don't like get that here, or it's not And then we did a few shows here in Winnipeg, and I guess like as a sketch group, we were kind of going through like some stuff, and then we go to Edmonton and we do this show, and then we didn't even realize of it afterwards. They were like, hey, that sketch show is pretty dark. They're like, oh yeah, I guess like somebody dies at every sketch just about it.
I've been on like jags like that too, where,
right?
Like for me, a big reason I kind of had to get out of doing a lot of comedy, pretty much doing all comedy that I was like, it was just, in a way, it was like, I felt like it was eating me alive, and it was getting dark. But the problem was, for us at least, the kind of comedy we were doing, the darker it was, or the darker our lives were, the better our sketches were.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them was me and a friend, and we were writing like a bunch of sketches together, and we were living in this horrible house in Toronto. It was like dirty, it was cold. like we were working crummy jobs. You're just like, you're eating terrible food. You're drinking. You're staying up late. You're miserable.
Yeah.
And I think back to that time, and then I remember what we were writing at that time, and I'm like, that was the fun. Like my brain doesn't even work in that way anymore.
Yeah.
I can't remember how I came up with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Or how we did, and yeah, it's like. And it worked, but it definitely came through, because I also look back at that stuff and I was like, yeah, these sketches were like a lot of our stuff was like, oh, here our sketch is like 2 people being really mean to a third person, 3 people being really mean to a fourth person, and it was like we wrote like a whole show of that. You look back, you're like, oh boy, we were. It's funny that
getting some stuff out.
Yeah, we were really, I think, working through stuff that we didn't realize. But then you also have sketches about crime-solving twins.
Yes, yeah,
and you get to have fun with that kind of stuff.
yeah.
It's I remember too, on like we did a festival in Hollywood in 2005 or 6, I think it was 2005, and we were like the only non-American troupe to get in.
Wow.
We might have been the only one that applied. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we got in, and we're like, oh, you're our first international act. And we were psyched. So we were, I can't remember if we did 1 or 2 shows, but it was like right in Hollywood at like Vine and something else. It was amazing. And so we stayed there for about like pretty much a week.
Nice.
And like went around the city, and we're like, ooh, maybe we'll get meetings or something, right? You want to have some time.
Yeah.
And we had all
clear
these
schedules.
Oh,
case,
yeah. And we had all these.
Martin Scorsese wants to get into sketch comedy.
You never know. We sent him an email. We invited him. Right? This is pre-Facebook, so
For
it was
sure.
tough to network. It was tough. We can't be blamed.
Yeah.
And we, but I remember we did like our favorite sketch was one of the 3 people being mean to a fourth person sketch, and we thought it was so funny and hilarious, and it had all these elaborate costumes and everything, and people were just like, "Aw!" You could hear it happening, and we're like, "Oh no! Oh no! These people are nice," and we're like dirty Toronto people,
dirty mean Toronto people.
We did great. We did good overall. It went well, but there was just like
you could sense that
there was that one where like, oh, they're not into that.
The culture just isn't into that much.
Yeah. And we were surprised because we're like, oh, we're in America. They're all about being mean to each other, but I guess not.
Big and mean, but maybe California is not the place.
Yeah. You guys have gone down. Did you do Chicago?
Yeah, we did Chicago. We've done Chicago twice. We did Seattle. We did San Francisco, and we're going back to San Francisco in February of 2020. Yeah, we just got the invitation. Yeah,
that's at like SF Sketchfest or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Wow. We're so excited. Like the last time that they went down to do like the States run, they did like Seattle, Chicago, and then San Francisco.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to go.
Oh.
So I'm really looking forward to being able to go this time and go to San Francisco and be a part of that.
When you go on the road, when you're going to be in another city, do you bring any video stuff, or do you try to go all live for what you're doing? Video
and graphics are sort of, kind of not, I wouldn't say our shtick, but maybe a bit of a gimmick that we lean on, because we do have, so Honks is myself, Dana Smith, Matt Nightingale, and Rory Fallis, and the 3 of us, me, Dana, and Matt, are on stage, and Rory's like our director and our guy in the booth, and he directs all of our videos, and he makes everybody look better, and so he incorporates videos and graphics that he makes into the show, and so he can run all the sound effects and kind of be a voice in the back of the room and that kind of stuff. Yeah
Video's way easier nowadays too.
It is.
Thinking back to my time, like we had all this video
projector
ideas
and
we had all these ideas too. What is if only we knew someone with like a camera that was digital, if only we had a way to edit it. And now it's like,
does anybody have a $10,000 DSLR?
Oh yeah that's what it was back then. We knew one guy with like a decent camera, and we shot some videos that just looked terrible. We also, I remember, I've seen is Hunks stuff on YouTube? I know I've seen your stuff on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, Hunks Comedy is the channel, and we put out a new video just about every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta follow that more.
Yeah.
I get your stuff on YouTube.
Content.
That like just shows up in my feed, like when you're talking to people on the street and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was we were doing it when I was doing it. It was like right around the start of YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And we did we learned like a weird lesson really early on, like, because it was, I think, like, again, like 2005, like YouTube was like fairly new.
Yeah.
And we did a sketch at Second City, or we did like a whole show.
Yeah.
And we had one sketch that was like really quick and funny and loud. And it was just a guy who was like powerful businessman. And then like he's just yelling at the audience about how he's a powerful businessman. But the whole time people are just walking by and he's just spanking them. Like, and it's just like, oh, that's just how he got to the top. He just spanked his way to the top. We thought it was funny and we put it up on YouTube. And then we got all these comments from like weirdos who look for spanking videos.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Weird. I guess that just comes with the territory. It's the only time I put anything up that I was like legit disturbed by. And I was like, oh, some guy was watching that happen to me.
Yeah, that's a very real and huge online community. We put up all of our sketches on Pornhub. Because you can upload whatever you want on there.
For real, they're up there?
Yeah, for real.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, we have a Pornhub account and we've uploaded it, and it's funny, like some of the comments on our videos are just like hilarious, and like sometimes people are like, yo, this is really funny. Just imagining, like, how do they stumble on this video, and then the fact that they would comment.
You know what? I'll watch it for a bit, then it's funny enough. They forget that they were horny. And
Yeah.
Oh, right. Geez, I was working on something. Hold on. Go open that other tab again.
Yeah.
How much? So, like, do you upload everything that goes on YouTube up to the Pornhub account?
Pretty much everything, yeah.
It's just part of your upload.
Yeah, we're just
regimen?
like, why not? Like, it's funny to us.
What do you tag it as?
Are
Are there like categories you can tag it? Are you truthful at least?
No. Hang on, give me a second, and I'll pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you Google Pornhub and then hunks, you will not find our channel.
Oh, really?
No,
I guess there's probably a million things. Right?
Yeah, lots of porn videos with hunks in the title.
Really? Yeah, just hunky dudes though. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we have over 12,000 views on Pornhub.
Oh my god.
This one sketch has got 67% thumbs up. That's not bad. It's like a news sketch.
For some people, you're the equivalent of like, there's good articles.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I go on Pornhub for the comedy.
For the sketch comedy.
Okay,
yeah.
Your history shows that you're. Yeah. No. It's actually a really funny troupe. They're from Canada. Oh, sure. Oh, something too. People might not know about you that I thought was super cool was your wife Dana Smith.
Yeah.
Also comedian, like you said, in Hunks. You do some stand-up shows with her as well.
Yeah.
Can you tell the story of how you got married?
Sure.
And this whole thing, because I thought it was very cool, and I think you'll probably just tell it better than I can recap.
Sure. Yeah. So Dana and we got married in April 2018. We got married on CBC radio program called The Debaters.
Yeah.
And it's a great program. Been a big fan of it for a long time. And the format of the show is you have two comedians on stage, and Steve Patterson is like the host and the mediator who runs the debate. And so the two comedians will debate a topic, whether that be like, peanut butter versus jelly, or like baseball versus basketball, or pen versus pencil, like, all those, like, they've done so many episodes. They've literally covered just about everything.
Yeah.
Dana and I were friends with one of the producers on that show, Graham Clark, and we were kind of talking to him about like, oh, we'd love to do the Debaters, but we don't know what we can bring to it. Like, we would like to do something kind of new and original for it, and talking back and forth. And then, Dana had the idea of, why don't we debate whether or not we should get married on the radio?
Yeah.
Because it was like a real debate that we were having in our real life.
Let's just move
for a while.
Save it for the CBC, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Let the CBC settle it. And so we pitched it, and they liked it, and so we kind of kept working on it, and then they said, all right, let's do it. And the Winnipeg Comedy Fest got involved, and Shannon, who works for the Comedy Festival, she was such a huge part help organizing it. They even got I think it was Generate Cakes donated like this big beautiful cake for the sort of festival wrap-up party / wedding reception afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it was the last day of the festival. It was at the Regent Casino, so it was almost sold out. There was like 1,300 people there or so.
Oh my God.
And we were sort of in I think the first group or the second group of debates that went up, and we came out, and Dana came out first, and she's wearing overalls and a tie-dye shirt. And then I came out second, and I was wearing a full tuxedo with like a bow tie and everything.
Yeah.
And the audience was just like so excited because it had been like talked about in the media and whatnot, like building up to it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it wasn't a big surprise to a lot of people there. They were kind of anticipating it, I think. And we had all of our friends and family like just filling in the front section. And we debated whether or not we should get married, like through just, telling jokes. One of my jokes was, like, this is a little boy's dream come true. Who didn't grow up dreaming of a publicly funded wedding at a casino in Winnipeg, and it was fantastic. And then the audience votes, right? So if they vote for me, then we're going to get married on the stage later that day. Mm-hmm. And if they vote for Dana, then, tough luck. We're not going to get married.
Yeah.
And leading up to the day, I was like, oh, for sure, they're going to vote yeah. They're going to vote yeah. And then earlier in the debates, there was a debate where Erica Sickerson was debating Courtney Gilmore. Those are two very funny comedians. Courtney Gilmore is multiple amputee, and she has a GoFundMe to get this prosthetic leg that's this really like high tech limb that would make a huge impact on her life. And Erica, so the two of them were debating whether or not she should have that GoFundMe to get that leg.
Yeah.
And Winnipeg voted against
oh my God.
the multiple amputee.
Guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was messed up. So yeah, then I got all nervous. I was like, oh no. I forgot we're in Winnipeg.
Yeah. You figure marriage would be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So then we went up, we debated, and then the audience was just so great, and they applauded very loudly for us to get married. So I got down on one knee, I gave Dana the ring, and then after the last debate, they kind of cleared the stage, and then Hall & Oates, You Make My Dream Come True started playing, and then I came out, and with my wedding party, I had a bunch of groomsmen, Dana had a bunch of bridesmaids, and then we had a quick little 7-minute wedding ceremony on stage there.
And for real, you were prepared to just maybe it won't be this.
Yeah, it was entirely in the audience's hands.
All the groomsmen, all the bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.
You can finish off the rest of the pizza back there.
Save me a couple slices.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to plug too before we finish up to your album, which I re-listened to recently.
Thanks, man.
You Gotta Laugh.
You gotta laugh.
That's I really enjoy it. I like your stand up a lot.
Thanks, man.
I don't know, just super.
That was the most grueling editing experience of my entire life. Like having to listen. Yeah, I recorded and edited and put it out myself, and like listening back to my voice and like, oh, I wish I would have said that joke a little bit differently or whatever. Just I had to kind of push through that darkness, and then I'm really happy with it now. Like it's been a couple of years since I put it out, and I don't hate it. Which
that's big.
Happy about. Yeah.
If it ages well in your mind, at least like how you feel about it, you're like, oh yeah.
It actually I listened to parts of it recently, and it sounded way better than I had decided it had gone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's huge too. Like again, being in music, like so many bands, like if you don't have music out there or an album or an EP or something, it's weird,
right?
If you're out playing shows and you don't have that. Whereas comedians, like very few I find actually put together an entire album. It's such an undertaking, I guess. And it's such a tightrope because if that show doesn't go well, you're like, oh, that was supposed to be an album taping. I packed that.
Yeah.
And then, So did you
one show,
just one set?
Just one set. Yeah.
That's no net right there.
And I had the traditional way I was supposed for doing a comedy album is like, you write your 45 minutes or an hour, you work on that over 5, 10, 15 years, and then you tour as a headliner and you refine that hour or that 45 minutes or whatever, and then you record it and put an album out. But I did not do that at all. Like I had been working on those jokes for a long time, but I've only ever I typically only ever do sets that are like between 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't toured as a headliner. It's really hard to get booked as a headliner. So that was the first time that I had done that much time on stage, all together in one album. But yeah,
it turned out great. So I'm gonna plug it for everybody. Go listen. It's on Spotify.
Thanks, man.
Tim, I think it's time for us to get to work.
Okay,
and write a song.
I'm scared. I used to play guitar a little bit.
Oh yeah,
not great. Yeah.
I was just remembering actually, like when I was in the kitchen, that I gave you a guitar for that bit.
That's right, man. Yeah.
And I didn't even get to see it because I think I had a show that night.
Oh. It went really well.
I want to see. Was it the one they were throwing a guitar? Like you just did that and throwing guitars?
I'll see if I could. Maybe we have a video of it.
I'd love to see that guitar getting totaled.
Yeah, it was Chuck Buckner and the Fuck Knuckles. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He came out and the band was like behind him, like with a washboard and like a jug, and I forget the other one was like a tambourine or something like that. And then comes out to like introduce the song. Like, I'm gonna show you my band. This is that. This is that. This is that. All right, we're gonna ready to play our hits, but first I'm gonna need my guitar. Throw me that, Betsy. And then way up in the sky. Crash. Okay, well, how about you throw me old Dellarine? Shock, and then smash. And I ran around to the other side of the theater, and it's like, all right, well, how about you just pass me the twins? And then I throw 2 guitars, and they come and smash. And he's like, oh, this one looks like it's okay. And like steps on the body and pulls the neck up. Yeah.
That was at the Park Theater, right?
Yeah.
So wait, were you on the stage and they were throwing the guitars?
I was throwing the guitars from the wings onto the stage. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were fine with guitars landing?
We didn't really clear it with them. I was thinking about like what would we do a song about? Should we do something based on like what we talked about?
We can, yeah, if you feel there's something there. What you're passionate about.
Social justice warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a social justice warrior.
That's it right there. Oh my God. Right there.
Yeah. I'm a social justice.
How's that?
Yeah, that's really good. Social justice warrior, living my life on the internet, surfing from message board.
Oh, you know, we need like a moment where there's like S J W. So do we want the guitar to go through a little bit before we start singing? Or no, I think we should be right off the top.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Social justice warrior, living my life on the internet. Social justice warrior, I can't let you get away with that. Social justice warrior, gotta find some free Wi-Fi. Social justice warrior, my daddy was used up telling you why you're bad. Follow me on Twitter. My picture is just an egg. I have 4 followers. One of them is Hellman's Mayonnaise. Follow me on Instagram. SJW42069. Comment on your comment and tell you need to read more books. Social justice warrior, living my life on the internet. Social justice warrior, how dare you get away with that? Social justice warrior, oh boy do I hate free speech. Social justice warrior, I'm actually the one that's being reasonable. Social justice warrior. me for life.
Tim Gray, everybody, social justice warrior. I wouldn't say that song was so much improvised, but it did happen quick. And we did just sort of jump in as soon as the thing felt kind of ready. I think Tim had like a bunch of lyrics on a sheet and he just pulled out the lines that he liked. It does feel like it's part exaggeration about being a social justice warrior, and maybe also part what like an uptight hothead might think a social justice warrior is and what they think. See, there's a lot of layers in this one. There's a lot going on beneath the surface. I also want to thank last week's guest, Ava Glendenning. She did the guitar work on that song. All like the lead stuff, the impressive things, that was Ava. So if you heard the last episode, Ava talks about guitar a ton and working at it, working to be really good at it, and then doesn't even play guitar on the song that plays at the end. I was doing the little bit of guitar that was there. So thank you, Ava, for pulling out this solo that I do not have the chops to play. It was. I'm glad everybody got to hear her shred. You can check out Tim's stand-up album. Again, it's called You Gotta Laugh. It's on Spotify. It's easy to find. His sketch troupe is Honks, all capital letters if you're looking for them. And while you are opening apps, give this show a rating on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever you use. You can follow us on Instagram, Hey Let's Write a Song. On Twitter, we are Write a Song Pod. All the episodes go up on YouTube. So if you want to share the show, that might be the easiest way. If you're sharing it with someone who doesn't want to deal with a podcast app, if it's not a podcast person, then just give them the YouTube link. That's fine. Next week is the season finale. It's an episode that has been done for a very long time, actually. It was one of the earliest ones I recorded. I've been hanging on to it because I'm very, very proud of the song. It's actually featured in the series trailer. If you go back and listen to that, that's how long I have had this one ready to go. Thanks for listening again, and we will be back in 1 week for the final episode, the final track of season 1 of Let's Write a Song.